Hey everybody, time for a tea update. I am now 9 months on tea. It's crazy. I was thinking, as a lot of other people in this position do, that 9 months is the length of a pregnancy, and my reflection on that is that 9 months is just a very long time for anything, I think, so I can't really imagine how it would feel to be pregnant for 9 months. But that is not the topic of this video. Yeah, so this is just a regular tea update on my transition. So, sort of a broad overview of how I feel about things at this point is that being on tea and transitioning does definitely feel right to me. I mean, every day I feel happy about what I'm doing. I feel thankful that I have the chance to transition, that I live in this time period and in this place. I feel really thankful. I feel like it's definitely been the right choice, and I feel much more comfortable socially interacting with people. I feel much happier about my body. Looking in the mirror feels great now, whereas it did not really feel that great before transition. I feel more like in my body and more connected with my body. Yeah, and it's interesting. Before transition, I was nervous. I thought, what if I end up regretting being on T? What if I have moments where I get that feeling of like, oh my god, what am I doing? This might not be the right choice. But I haven't felt that. I feel really calm about it, actually, and I feel happy about it. So, that's good. And then a couple of other, mental or emotional things that I'll start out with. One is that these days I feel like I'm more likely to express myself, either verbally or in writing. I just feel less nervous saying what I think. And I was pretty nervous about that most of the time before transition. I look so white. Let me see if I can get it to focus differently. This still looks really white. Anyway, yeah, I'm more likely to express myself. One example that might let you know what I mean is, for example, when I'm on YouTube or just anywhere on the internet, looking at comments, comments on one of my videos or somebody else's video, if there's a really dumb comment or a comment that's really ignorant or insulting or something, I get kind of fired up about it. I'm like, that's not okay, and I type a reply that states what I think. Not in a jackass way or anything like that, but that just does not hold back on something that I feel is important to say, which I would not necessarily have done that much before. And now a difference is that I just have more of an impulse to do it. Like, I read a comment that annoys me, and I'm like, respond. Whereas before, I would have been like, well, I don't need to respond to that comment. I'll just ignore it. But I don't do that as much now. I feel good about that, because it's not like I'm picking fights or anything. I'm just standing up for myself, essentially, which feels good. But then that also could be related to just my life changes, as opposed to being strictly a result of being on T, because just making the decision to transition and going through the transition process has gotten me, it's required that I stand up for myself more, and that I be in touch with what's important to me. You can't really transition without doing that, so that's also part of me expressing myself. And kind of related to that, I have this undercurrent of assertiveness most of the time, where, for example, and I think that this one might be somewhat related to testosterone, but when I'm walking down a sidewalk, and I see a guy walking. It's interesting that this this happens more with guys than women, but I see a guy like walking towards me, and if he's not moving out of the way, like if he's just like, oh, I'm the center of the universe and I'm walking straight into other people, I'm like, I don't really step aside. I'm like, if you are choosing to walk within an inch of me, okay, but I'm not going to move aside just because you're being a dick. Um, Not that walking close to someone it counts necessarily as being a dick, but I'm just trying to articulate how I feel sometimes. Anyway, what else? Another somewhat mental thing is that just recently I've noticed that I've started to feel much more content and also more able to chat with people, especially guys, about topics that I would have found completely boring and completely pointless to talk about before transition. Like, before transition, I pretty much only found it interesting to talk with friends and other people about feelings or experiences or relationships. And I totally am still into talking about that stuff now. But now, in addition, I'm more able to, and I get more enjoyment out of talking about stuff like hobbies, like bikes, or backpacking, and like I can get really into talking about like gear or like bike technical stuff or what's another example? Or like recently I was talking with this guy about just random stuff related to space travel. I was like, yeah, this is fun. It feels satisfying, maybe even a little relaxing to chat about that. And I felt like I could just keep going with it. Whereas before transition, I was like, I always hear guys talking about those things along the lines of what I just mentioned. And I was like, that's so boring and doesn't interest me. And like, how can you connect with somebody talking about that stuff? But I'm a little more into it now, which is interesting, and I feel like that might be a product of testosterone, which is weird, pretty crazy. Um, anyway, how about physical stuff? I can go through this a little faster. So, a big thing, of course, is strength. I've continued to have more muscle mass, which I really love, and more strength. I mean, my whole body feels stronger. Like, when I go on difficult hikes, I can feel that my legs feel really strong. And I've been going back to the rock climbing gym, which I hadn't done for a few months because of my top surgery. And it was pretty amazing going back there after not climbing, not even attempting to do one pull-up for the previous 6 months or so because of my surgery. I went back to the climbing gym one day. On my first day, I was climbing like almost at the level that had been my best in the past. And after climbing for an hour or so, I could do 6 pull-ups in a row after not attempting to do any for a few months. I mean, that's really crazy. Whereas before being on T, if I were in that situation going back to climbing, my climbing level would have been way lower, and I could have maybe done like one pull-up. So it's really, really impressive and kind of mind-blowing what a difference testosterone makes. And I enjoy it very much. Like, I am just really happy at my muscles. I'm not actually that white in real life. It's just the lighting, as you can see on that side. So, I enjoy that. Anyway, other physical things. So, I think in my last video I had said that my lower body had gained a little mass too, and I was really bummed because I had to get a couple of bigger pants. But I think Some contributors to that were things such as completely gorging myself on cookies and dessert like every single day for a few weeks around Christmas. So I've been working harder on eating really healthy and avoiding a lot of desserts and avoiding beer in large part. Um, and that has made a difference. My what would you call that? My belly has gone down a little bit, so that's encouraging. Speaking of which, I can stand up. I don't know if you can really tell much by that. My shorts are a little poofy, but of course you have nothing to compare it with. You can't see my legs, but there you go. Anyway, what else? So my facial hair is continuing to increase pretty slowly. If I go for like a week without shaving, there's definitely significant something there. Um, some of it is a little dark. It's not really completely dark, but I definitely have some substantial stuff around there. But it's not substantial in the sense of a normal facial hair. It's not there yet. And then on the sides of my face, it's coming in more. I mean, it's still totally blonde there, and it's relatively thin, but it's certainly increasing. And I have more body hair. You know, that's what people say at a certain point. It's just like, well, my news is that I have more hair. So it's pretty much like that. I have more peach fuzz all over. I'm starting to get even more peach fuzz on my chest. That's coming in. My legs, that is really hairy. It's increasing on my arms, but not as much as on the legs. And other things. My face is still really greasy, greasier than it was before. But at least I don't really have that much acne on my face. I'm thankful for that, for sure. My worst acne is still on my shoulders. I can give you a glimpse of that. And I'll do another video to update on my top surgery progress. So yeah, you can see there's some acne, but, you know, it's not the absolute worst that could happen. My period had been continuing up until like 8 months, which was weird, but in the last month it was almost gone, kind of like almost not really very noticeable, so that's good. So I'm hoping that it'll be pretty much gone away now. We'll see. And I met with my endocrinologist. I found out that I'm not supposed to increase my testosterone dose right now. The last measurement was 591 of those units, which she thinks is pretty ideal, and that higher would not be so good, because that was in the middle of my T dose, you know, in the middle of the week. So supposedly my levels would be higher right after I do my shot, so I'm not supposed to increase my dose, which is okay because my period seems to be going away, finally. And speaking of hormones, I ordered online, just the other day, this informational booklet, like a scientific booklet that my doctor has, and that I was just really curious to read in more depth myself, because I'm fascinated about the scientific and medical aspects and all the numbers and all that. So I ordered it. It's from the Endocrine Society, and I'll see if I can put a link down below in case anybody else wants this somewhat thick, long, informational scientific booklet. And then just a couple of last notes on physical stuff. I'm still a bit warmer in general than I was pre-T, and as will probably be the case indefinitely, my sex drive is still exponentially higher than it was pre-T, and as I've said before, it makes me feel pretty good. I mean, I feel like this like fiery life energy that seems to match with me and my mind pretty well. Yeah, I just feel like, as I've heard other trans guys say, I feel like testosterone matches my mind and my system and my brain and my feelings pretty well, so that's a cool feeling. Anyway, that pretty much covers it. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions about my transition. And like I said, I'll do a video about my chest progress. Yeah, I guess I'll just bring it to a close for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.